SONA 2016, Duterte's First.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of the Philippines, President Rodrigo Roa Duterte.
Change has come.
I will be with you all the way. Abuse your authority, and there will be a hell to pay.
The Philippines' 16th President.
Good evening, everyone. It's another beautiful Thursday evening, and you're with your favorite sports talk hangout once more. Sports, your Inquirer sports page on air and apparently everywhere. My name is Francis Ochoa, and with me, as always, my co-anchor, Miss Celeste Flores Colina, the sports editor of INQUIRER.net. Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hey, you sound different.
Yeah, I'm a bit sick since Sunday.
Oh.
I was hoping to get better today, but obviously that's not gonna happen. I think it's going around because my 2-year-old daughter, Elle, we brought her to the hospital earlier.
Oh. Hi, Elle. Get well
she has
soon.
tonsillitis, so yeah, both of us are sick.
Oh, speaking of daughter, my daughter, hi Isai, happy birthday.
Happy
She turns
birthday.
1 tomorrow. Annika Isabel, happy birthday. And we have some greetings here.
Yeah.
My mom's watching from New York.
my
It's
dad,
8 a.m.
my
there.
yeah, my dad's in New York too, Queens.
Yeah, and we have greetings from Spain, from John Lester Masigan, from Singapore, Mario Fernandez. Hi.
Yeah, I would also like to greet Mark Vincent Chu. He's from Malta. He's there right now. And my best friend, Andrea Valino, is listening from Palm Springs, California.
Such an international
Grabe,
audience. We have an international audience.
And there's a reason to that because we're live in so many platforms. So if you're online, you just have to go to INQUIRER.net Facebook and listen to the live broadcast. Or we're live there right now. You can also go to sports.inquirer.net or the INQUIRER.net homepage. And if you're if you're listening on the radio, you can listen to Radio Inquirer 990 AM, and we're on TV. Hi everyone.
Hi, everyone
Yeah, we're
on
on TV.
TV.
So you can see us on Inquirer 990 TV on cable.
Okay, so many viewers, so many followers, and everyone in between. Let's not keep them waiting. Let's get the show started. And to kick everything off, here's the starters by John Labasog.
Hi, my name is John, and this is your starters. The Philippines bets for the 2016 Olympics have arrived in Rio de Janeiro to get settled in before the actual competition starts. The first set of Olympians who arrived in Brazil after a 25-hour trip were led by flag bearer Ian Lariba of table tennis, and they include long jumper Maristela Torres, weightlifters Heidelin Diaz and Nestor Colonia, taekwondo's Elaine Alora, and swimmer Jessie Lacuna. The six quickly settled into the athletes' village and have bonded as they begin to chase to end a long medal drought in the Summer Games. Their arrival was far from ideal as officials decried the poor accommodations for the athletes. Officials of the Philippine delegation plan to bring up the poor conditions during a delegates meeting. Team USA meanwhile continued to prove that it will be the team to beat in the basketball tournament of the Olympics. Despite a watered-down squad that is without big-name stars like LeBron James of the Cleveland Cavaliers and Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors, the Americans show that they are going to be a force to reckon with on the Olympic hardcourt. With new Warriors signee Kevin Durant and New York Stars Carmelo Anthony leading the way, the U.S. men waltzed through tune-up matches against Argentina and Asian powerhouse China. It doesn't look like Team USA is slowing down anytime soon, and with the Olympic first-timers Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and the rest of the squad eager to prove their mettle, it will be hard to knock the crown off the Americans' heads. To all you wrestling fans out there, the Big Show hit the country to promote what could be this year's biggest wrestling show. The 7-foot wrestler was here to promote WWE Live Manila, which will be held in September at the Mall of Asia Arena. It was a dream come true for many big fans as Big Show held a meet and greet session and also granted interviews with several sports journalists. And as if the wrestling show could not get any bigger, the organizers announced another big name added to the roster, megastar John Cena. Whose wrestling success has translated into movie roles and hosting gig in the recent ESPYs, will now join the big names who will strut their stuff here. In the PBA, social media was abuzz when rumors about the longtime popular franchise being put for sale resurfaced. This time with talk that the team was already trying to deal away its star player. Two companies, Unilever and SM Group, have been tagged as potential buyers for the squad, which is expected to blow up the roster and distribute its stars to its sister teams before a sale is completed. The rumors further fueled talk that this was the reason the team has been in a tailspin lately. Also in the PBA, the Alaskans will shoot for a second straight win without star player Calvin Abueva. The Spitfire from San Sebastian was that's it for this.
If you want to join
Wednesday, so you need to keep that hashtag. We're gonna ask something about our guest today, but before we go to that,
mystery team.
mystery team.
Is it really a mystery?
I don't think it's a mystery anymore. I mean, but the way the clues were set up in
Yeah.
that newspaper report.
So, from Mosong Castillo, the report, a popular PBA team is apparently on sale. And the
Yeah.
clues were, it's been in the league for the last 3 decades. It's a part of the two powerful groups.
Powerful group. It's the
And
MVP and SMC
So,
group.
but if you look at it, if it's been there for 3 decades,
That
and
rules
then
out MVP.
no more MVP. So, SMC team. So, it doesn't make sense though if they sold their flagship team, San Miguel, who's
Exactly.
been winning the titles, and then most especially Ginebra, who's really the most popular team in the league. So,
Yeah.
it really leaves you with just one
Star.
team. It's very easy to guess if you
Yeah, so
actually look at it.
actually, all of social media's already pretty much guessed that the team that's been talked about right now, and there are 2 potential buyers being discussed.
Since everyone, it's public knowledge na pala among the teams that this team is being put up for sale. So Unilever and SM Group,
yeah.
who's been, I think, knocking on the door of the
The
PBA
PBA
for a
so
long
long.
time.
They've been in
Yeah.
the D League already. So
Yeah,
you know.
they have this BDO team starring NU players and Bobby Ray Parks, but they don't have a team right now in the PBA.
So yeah, well, the question is really the most important thing is, of course, the impact that it leaves in the
Yeah,
PBA
of
if it
course.
happens. We're talking about
Who's gonna be
really-
more affected? Players,
it's not
fans?
the players they're probably gonna end up some other teams and everything and all. But the fans, it's like we're not talking about any ordinary team. This is a
yeah.
team that's really very well entrenched in PBA history and
like I said, even if Star has changed its name and
Exactly,
uniform so many
exactly.
times,
so much history with that, so we really don't know how that's going to turn out, so we're just going to keep our eyes on that. But if it happens, as sad as we might be, it's change, and everything changes. I mean, in the PBA alone, there's
Mahindra.
Mahindra, there's really a certain
3-0.
change. 3-0 on top,
after beating San Miguel last night,
the defending champions, no
Yeah, I
less,
know.
right? So
I'm sure after that game, no one's gonna call them a fluke or anything. They're for
Yeah,
real.
they might-
It's not
they're gonna
it's
compete.
not easy to get 3-0 at this point.
yeah, this point in the tournament. And by the way, that one that featured the NLEX game where Asi Taulava served his
Yeah,
suspension for
And
slapping.
Coach Boyet Fernandez said that they were actually caught off guard
Yeah.
with that late suspension because I think it was just announced Tuesday, a day before the
Before
game.
they
So
had to
they
play.
were planning that they think nga sana they had the edge with Asita Olava there, and they Ginebra
Yeah.
only had Brownlee,
Brownlee.
and so they thought they had that edge, but so they had to throw out that game plan and stick to what they have. So, but what I want to know from you, I'm sure you have feelings about this. How did Dela
again, really. So I grew up watching all these Three Stooges videos. So when you say slap, it's really something that's really funny or maybe overly dramatic for me, like those teleserye things. So for someone like Asi to come up and in a serious moment like that's really funny.
I'm
for
sure he wanted to just more than just
slap, but
that. He's gonna get more than that
In trouble, yeah.
32,500 fine.
Of course. Oh, yeah, I mean, if Asi is listening, he might want to clarify it, on Twitter. Asi, if you're listening,
Why
or if
did he
anyone's
slap?
beside him, why did he slap? What's his name? Yeah, Semerad, Anthony
Yes,
Semerad,
Anthony
right?
Semerad.
Becomes the second player suspended. Like we were talking,
Yeah.
we're talking about tomorrow.
Calvin Abueva.
Calvin Abueva doesn't get to play. He's suspended. He's fined. So 2 players this week.
Speaking of Calvin Abueva and the Alaska Aces, it's now time for our next segment, the Dugout, where we talk to our guests about pressing issues. And joining us tonight, we do have a special guest from the Alaska Aces in this week's edition of Dugout.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our special guest for tonight, 3-time champion player, 4-time All-Star, 1-time sportsmanship awardee, and the current Alaska team captain, Mr. Anthony Tony Dela Cruz.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Really happy to have a veteran player here in the booth.
Veteran, eh?
Yeah, veteran. I'm sorry. That's okay,
Yes.
veteran. Yes. So, let's go.
Mhm.
Let's go right to it. First, we want to talk about the Alaska Aces. We were mentioning Mahindra is 3-0. Right now, you're 1-1,
1-1.
right? I know it's still too early in the conference, but what's your initial assessment so far of your team? How are you doing? Are you guys in a good place right now?
Obviously, we're far from where we want to be.
Mhm.
And I think that's expected. You don't want to be peaking 2-3 games into the season. You want to be peaking in the playoffs. But, I mean, this conference is going to be tough because they have so many good imports. And then now we have Asian imports as well. You know,
Yeah.
teams have that other advantage who have the Asian import. So, I mean, you look at the crop of imports that are playing this conference. It's not going to be cakewalk. It's not going to be, oh, this team's going to be easy. You know, like you said, Mahindra's 3-0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would have
And, you know,
expected that?
Surprising.
And Mahindra hasn't really traditionally done well
Yeah.
since it's entered the PBA. So it's not a team where you can look at it and say, oh, we're going to take this like this. This is a for sure win. Everyone can beat anyone on a given night. So you have to take every team serious.
Margaret de las Llagas wanted to ask, since Alaska Aces, even if you haven't been winning in the past conferences, you're still considered as one of the top contenders always in any conference. Is there pressure that comes with that, and how do you deal with that, being a contender all the time?
I mean, to say you're a contender is you're in the PBA. So, I mean, if you're one of the 12 teams in the PBA, you have a chance every conference.
Okay.
As far as Alaska, you know, our owner, Mr. Itengsu, demands that we play with excellence. Our coaching staff demands that we play with excellence, and the byproduct of that should be championships. But we don't put all this pressure on ourselves like we have to win a championship at all costs. What we tell ourselves every conference, every practice, every game is we have to play the right way. And by playing the right way, no matter what the score is, we represent the company, we represent our team in the best possible way. So, you know, obviously we've had a lot of second place finishes, but it's not something that we're proud of in the sense of, well, at least we're second.
Yeah.
You know, we want to be first place every conference. You know, we want to be the winningest franchise in PBA history. So, by all means, we're not satisfied. And to be a contender is we're all a part of the PBA, so everyone's a contender. So we want to win a championship.
Speaking of those bridesmaid finishes, I know it must have been really hard. And Mark Natividad from Facebook, he said he wanted to ask, how did you personally deal with those losses? And especially after that colossal loss to San Miguel.
San Miguel.
How did the team cope up? And how did you get over it?
Well, I mean, this last All Filipino where we were up 3-0, I don't know if you watched Game 7, like, there's a couple of us crying on the bench. I mean,
Yeah.
like, just in tears, and it's devastating. You know, you miss a chance like that, that's, I don't know if you recover from that, you know. The previous All Filipino, we were 10 for 25 from the free throw line in Game 7.
Yeah.
And that game was decided by 2 points, I think.
Yeah.
So you figure we make 3 extra free throws, you know.
You're a champion.
You're a champion.
It's been different.
And I remember after that series, I couldn't sleep for a whole week. You know, I was like wide awake. So, you know, Coach Alex says we have to deal with it like a death in the family. You mourn it, and then you don't get over it, but you learn from it, and you get stronger. So, obviously, we've been going to the finals. We just have to put it together and finally win one. So, there's no real secret to say this is how you deal with it. I mean, I remember when I heard a story when George Foreman lost to Ali in Africa.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't sleep for a whole year. You know, and he was the favorite. So I feel like I can identify with that because you're so close, and this is what, you know, you dream of as a basketball player, to win a championship. So, but you know, we're given the opportunity to go again, and we're contenders again, just like every other PBA team. And we have a game tomorrow, and hopefully this is the lessons that we're going to continue to learn. So there's no secret to dealing with it. You just have to get up. The sun's gonna rise.
Alexis John Olieska, he wants to know, since you're talking about the championships, how do you think the Aces can finally win the championship this year? You have one conference left. How do you see that happening?
I mean, I think we're on the right track. Every player on the team, buys into what we want to do. And I mean, I think it's the greatest group of guys I've ever been on a team with. Everyone is really selfless, and you think of yourself last, and I just think it comes down to like the little things. So like making free throws is obviously one of them. Doing the things you can control, boxing out, sprinting back on defense. If you want to get technical, executing the game plan, and what's the game plan on defense. Are we talking? Are we, when you want to get into the nitty gritty of what basketball is and the technical side, it's all the little things. But it's not going to just come down and say, okay, Calvin needs to score 40 points and JV needs to hit every three-pointer. It's not going to happen. Everyone needs to, whether you play 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, or you just practice. Like you're a part of the group, and you're expected to contribute.
You already mentioned Calvin, who's arguably your most popular teammate. He's a very dynamic player, and I'm very curious how's it playing with him? How's been the experience so far? And it's the same question from Alexis. How does Calvin help the team on and off the court?
For me personally, like I love not only playing with Calvin but seeing him develop, because I was there obviously his rookie year, and I saw the kind of player he was when he came in as a rookie, and who he is now. I mean, he's best player of the conference last conference. He's one of the mainstays on Gilas. Obviously, he didn't make the final lineup, but great player. Everyone, whether you hate him or love him, you have to respect what he does for the team and for basketball in the Philippines. So,
can you tell us the adjustment? Was there any adjustment? I mean, like I keep telling the guys, it's like the San Antonio Spurs taking in Allen Iverson. So he's such there's a certain aura within the Alaska organization, and Calvin would be your perfect anti-Alaska type of player. And how does it adjust? How is the adjustment? How's the adjustment? Did you have to adjust more, or did he have to adjust more? Or did you guys just meet halfway?
I think like it's funny you say that he's the anti-Alaska player. Like, I don't know if you could say, okay, any given person is an anti this team, but like, traditionally maybe he wouldn't fit what Alaska would normally get. And I think that's what brings so much notoriety to Calvin is he's fitting in a system where, off the court, he's a great guy. Like, he's a great family man. He loves his family. You can see him, like, he dotes on his kids, and, he's a great teammate. We joke around in the locker room, and he has big heart, and he plays every possession like it was his last. So it's really amazing to see him grow as a person. But I mean, for me personally, I feel kind of honored the fact that I'm next to this guy because he is really popular, and this is my team. And I have friends that'll be like, what's Calvin like? They're always asking about Calvin. And it's kind of cool to know that, and I play on this team with one of arguably the most popular player in the league. So it's just it's a great experience, and I really truly hope that we all are able to win a championship together. I think it's about time that we step up and hit some free throws and do the little things to get the championship. But more than anything, I would love to win a championship with Calvin.
How about Cyrus Baguio? He was recently traded to Phoenix, and you were teammates a long time. How does it feel now that when you're playing, he's not there anymore? That's close to a decade, right?
Yeah, I mean, Cyrus, when he got traded, I talked to him, and he personally thanked me for being a good teammate, and I thanked him for being a great teammate. But like anyone knows, in professional sports is a business, and business decisions are made. And I'm not saying that's what it purely was, but there's opportunities for both sides, whether it's the organization or the player, and you have to adjust accordingly. And whether or not people agree with the trade, or fans agree, or liked it or didn't like it, I mean, at the end of the day, Cyrus is going to get up and play basketball tomorrow for another organization, and he's going to play hard, and he's obviously really talented and great, and he's just by far the greatest teammate. Really, really nice guy, and yeah, he's really funny.
Really?
Really
he
funny.
Seems really
He's very, very stoic.
Yeah, it's kind of like strange.
He's probably
description for someone.
He's probably one of the funniest guys on the team besides Ping Examaniano. So.
Let's talk talk about your being a team captain. You've been the team captain for a long time. You've been associated with that. But for the benefit of our listeners and viewers, what exactly does a team captain do? What do you have a special task per game or anything like that?
I think more than anything, Coach Alex always says it, like, everyone on the court, everyone on the team is a leader. So it's not necessarily like, hey, listen to me, I'm the team captain.
Yeah.
It's more, my style is different from Coach Jeff. Jeff Cariaso was a team captain before me, so I watched how he did it. And then when I leave, someone else will come in and do it. And everyone's, allowed their own style. So I like to lead personally by example.
Okay.
So how am I going to tell people to, like, we have to have more discipline if I'm late? Or if I'm the first one to leave the gym or the last one to arrive? Like, how am I going to show younger players, hey, this is what it takes for us to continually get better? So I try to lead by example. I don't think there's a defined role in terms of what a team captain should do. But again, you are an extension of not only the coach but of the team. So if I'm out on the streets drinking, that doesn't look good for the Alaska organization. Or if I'm getting into an altercation off the court, that doesn't look good for the organization. So I'm always trying to conduct myself, and as is all the other Alaska players, the best possible way. But I think Coach Alex does a great job of empowering every single player to be a leader. So it's not necessarily, hey, everyone just listen to Tony. It's JV Casio can step up at any time and say, hey, we're not doing this right. Or when Don speaks, when Chris Banchero speaks, everyone needs to respect the fact that he's a part of this team and he has every right to point out,
Yeah, it's kind of the
a critique.
Alaska way, right? It's like really, it's the we not me
It's the
thing.
culture.
Yeah, we not me.
It's definitely the culture. Our owner tries to instill in us, and the management, the owner, the coaching staff. So, and then you just continue to like perpetuate it with the other players. So hopefully now the younger players like Kevin Rakal, being a rookie, in a couple of years, he's so ingrained in our culture that he's now perpetuating it for the next group of Alaska players.
Dangerous Almira dropped a question on Twitter. She's an Alaska Aces fan. Who do you think is the next team captain in the future, and why? Who do you
Who
see
has the
as
best
that leadership?
quality?
I personally, like, I'm trying to really not promote, but like push Rome De La Rosa, like,
Oh,
Really?
yeah.
because I know he's
him.
very, very great speaker,
That's true.
and he's a hard worker. He's not cocky. He's not, and I'm not saying other teammates are like that,
Yeah.
but I think Rome really can speak to everyone. Like, I can see he gets along with everybody. He knows how to identify when someone's struggling. When he sees a player who's down, he'll, hey, are you all right? Even me, like, he'll see me kind of staring off certain possessions where like I'm kind of like tired or something. He'll be like, Cap, you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. So it's like, I try to always tell him, you need to reach out to more people, and at some point, like, don't be afraid to get on someone because they're slacking off, or don't be afraid to encourage someone because they're doing great. But I really like Rome as a leader. But everyone's a leader on our team. Like, RJ Azul is really good with how he speaks to people. I think Chris Banchero has it in him to one day be a leader in terms of that. But it all comes down to someone who's gonna reach out even when they feel like they're irritated or frustrated or mad with their own game or whatever's going on. It's not about you; it's about the group. So, and I really truly see that in Rome.
You mentioned Coach Alex a lot. Heaven Bible wanted to ask, how does it feel like working with Coach Alex Compton, and can you compare him with the past coaches
Yeah,
you've
because you've
worked
had
with?
such really, really great coaches in your career. You had like Perry Ronquillo, you have Tim Cohn, Luigi Trillo, coaches of one Coach of the Year award. So,
No, I mean, Coach Alex is great. I think Coach Alex really, he's very, very fair, to the point where you sort of, like, I call him Hannibal Lecter, because he kind of gets in your brain where you think that, and I mean that in a good way, so if Coach Alex is listening, where he'll tell you something indirectly, and then maybe you'll reflect on it later on that night. Wow, I wonder why he did that to that person. And then, but you can see the big picture where he's developing that person, or, wow, that was really an encouraging statement that he said to me, but now I'm really realizing it now. So, and I think it's it's a great attribute to have as a leader, as a coach. But yeah, you're right. I've had some really good coaches that I played for, and I could see how each of them had their own style and the way they operated. I don't know if I have a favorite, but I do definitely know that if ever one day I become a coach, I want to take their styles and like kind of piece them together, incorporate them, and
bigger pieces,
be the ultimate coach. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now
Maybe break Tim Cohn's record, huh?
Yeah.
Now you're reflecting on your career. Now, Red Lee asked, who do you consider is your greatest rival and why?
Did you have one? Did you have a rivalry?
16 years.
In 16 years?
I don't want to be all profound, but I guess, I mean, the greatest, like, I honestly, truly think it's myself. And I'm not saying that, like, I'm the greatest player and I know. But it's my mind, you know, like, because one day you'll get up and you'll go to practice and you have a great practice or a great game and you feel like, oh, wow, I scored 25 points today and we won and it was a great, you know, I had 5 assists or whatever it is. And then the next game you can be absolutely horrible. Who necessarily did that? Was it the opponent? Was it another teammate? No, it was you, you know? So I think the biggest opponent that I'm starting to realize throughout my career was myself. Like, I limit myself in terms of maybe confidence, and then I also, you know, help myself on days when I'm really down, you know? So I think if you can, I mean, they say that the game of golf is between yourself, you know? So, and I think it's kind of like that with basketball, because there's some moments where you really feel down and you don't believe in yourself, and then there's other days where you're like, man, I'm the greatest basketball player ever, you know? So you have to walk that fine line of confidence and cocky. So I think in terms of actual player that, like, you know,
when you face him, you really step up your game. You want to make sure he doesn't score over you or something.
Joe Devance, like,
why?
I just don't want him to score on me, and he doesn't want me to score on him. So I mean, we're really good friends, and when he was on Alaska, we'd always play one-on-one.
Okay.
And I know he'll twist the story around, but I think...
So who won this one-on-one games?
It's always me. He knows it. So
Joe,
if he's listening...
Joe, if you're listening, we'd like a comment, really.
Yeah. So if we've probably played 100 times, I've probably beat him 92 times. So.
Cool. Joe, you really need to get on Twitter right now.
Your name's being dragged across.
But no,
the
Joe. Obviously, Joe. Like I kid with Joe, but he's really one of the best players I've seen, like in a while, in terms of the positions he can play. And that's why he's such a great asset to whatever team he's on. So I took pride in knowing that, like, the days I would beat him, I'd rub it in his face, and the days he would beat me, he'd act like it was like so easy. So it's fun rivalry, but like whenever we play against each other, like I always want him. I never want him to get hurt, but I always want to like hurt him, and if you know what I mean. So like, that's just it's fun.
Yeah.
Let's go to this. I'm sure a lot of people have asked you this: retirement. Is this something you've been thinking about already? Where are you at when it comes to that?
I think I want to play till I'm 50. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. Like, my body feels good, but I understand that like basketball it's one of the only professions. I mean, in terms of professional sports. Professional sports is the only profession where, as you get older, your salary decreases. Yeah. You know, like you're in any other position in any other job.
You're supposed to increase as you go along.
You're supposed to increase. You're promoted. But in athletics, as you get older, you're going to decrease in value. So they say, because you're not going to run around as much and as much. So what Alaska tries to do is they enable you and empower you to try to help in areas off the court. So as long as I can still compete at practice and I'm ready in every game, but Coach Alex is always talking to me about you need to really start to mentor other players younger than you.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing. The transition. This is probably the transition phase of your career right now, where you're looking for. You mentioned coaching. Do you think that you're gonna get into it one of these days?
Or like TV gigs.
Or TV gigs, maybe.
I want to be management one day. Like that's what
management.
I want to do. Yeah. So I'm not vying for Dickie Bachman's job, but I like that idea of working with coaches, working with players, working with ownership to try to create a group that's going to win a championship. That really appeals to me, like, because you have to work with different people. So in terms of coaching, like, I really like the way Coach Alex teaches, Coach Tim teaches. So like that really motivates me to be like, man, I can do this. But in terms of the work ethic as a coach, I don't think I have that. Like, I watch Coach Alex doesn't sleep You know, he watches
God,
video
I'm sure.
all the
All
time.
the time. All the time.
He's always, I mean, every time I see him, he's always drawing up some kind of play, like he's a physicist, you know, drawing up like,
on napkins.
yeah,
your
like,
travel?
it's like a beautiful mind just drawing out like. So I don't have that patience and I don't have that work ethic, and I can admit that to myself, and you know, that's fine. Like, but I really like communicating with people, and I think that's more of the management side of it, like in terms of building a team, building a group, making sure, you know, you're guiding not only the coaching staff but the players into the same direction, and you basically just tell people what to do. No, I don't know.
outside basketball. Oh wait, before I go, no, you have a fan, Richard Ducusin. He wants to have a shout out. Can you just greet him, Richard? Shout out,
Richard
Ducusin.
Ducusin, what's up, man?
Hi, and I think this question is for you. When's John Colina going back to the PBA?
No, he's never in the PBA.
And we have a fan from Russia. Okay, William Pen of Florida, watching from
BC
Russia.
Assis, my crush. I think he's talking about you.
No,
No?
I don't know.
Him?
Identify anyone. I don't know who. Anyway, transitioning. Yeah, any outside basketball. What? How do you keep busy? You're endorser for Titan.
Mm-hmm. I've been an endorser for Titan for the last 6 years now since it opened. You know, I have Jeff Cariaso to thank for that. But no, I mean, with what Titan does, they're very, very good at the grassroots, and they have camps every year to like help the
Every
younger
summer,
kids.
right?
Every summer.
Yeah.
It's called Slam Camp, and they're really trying to promote grassroots and building better habits for basketball players.
You have a new shop.
They have a new shop at the Conrad Hotel. So if
that's
you're
near
ever
MOA.
in
Yeah,
MOA,
that's
if you're
near
there,
MOA.
it's really nice. It just opened up. And yeah, I mean, what Titan's done for me in the last 6 years is really invaluable. And it's not about just, free shoes. It's really about giving me the opportunity and the platform to go out and try to coach, because I coach every summer with them. And I run the drills with them. And Coach Jeff will put me in charge of certain, aspects of the camp. And it's been fun. It's a great learning experience. And you can see, the greatest feeling is when you see a child who doesn't get a drill right away, and then
Tell us about that. Your experiences with kids.
You walk them through it, and all of a sudden you see the light bulb go off in their head, and then they understand. And they may not be Steph Curry, but the fact that they realize that they have the potential to learn, to be better, and then you can see it connect in their mind. It's really awesome. It's a good experience. So Titan does a great job of promoting that, and obviously they have the best shoes and great haircuts. So
it used to be my favorite barber place when it was still at the BGC Burgos Circle.
Yeah,
but when they transferred,
I think they transferred in 2012. I think.
Yeah, so I lost track.
Yeah.
But there's one in Glorieta too, right?
Yeah, there's Glorieta. I can't name all the shops right now.
Sure.
I'm gonna.
Titan.
ka pala.
Haircut. Yeah. And on a serious note, you also have an advocacy. I was listening to you're into mental health thing. You plan to. Was this a group that have you spoken with Mr. Itengso about this thing you want to launch?
I've been doing a lot of public speaking off the court, and on a recent forum at Ateneo Business School, a friend of mine who's a professor asked me to speak on sports marketing, but I kind of went off course and talked about something that's really close to me, which is mental health and mental health resources. And I think as an athlete, we need mental health resources, because even me mentioning the word mental health, people automatically assume, he's crazy.
Yeah.
What do you mean by mental health? So mental health can be anything. It's a huge umbrella of from depression to anxiety to bipolar disorder to post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, from all the line of any kind of mental health, and even stress is a mental health issue, and how you deal with stress. And as an athlete, it's hard because you feel so much pressure to perform, and then let's say you don't know how to perform.
High pressure environment.
High pressure environment, and imagine you're on this court, and if you miss a shot, people are letting you know, and it's so easy now with the social media to let you know how horrible you are. Because there's the good side of it, was well, you're the greatest person I've ever met in my life. But on the bad side of it is there's someone's gonna be like, you're the worst person, you're worthless, you're not worth this
Keyboard
much.
warriors.
Keyboard
So,
warriors.
and I'm not saying that that's the main reason, but I mean, imagine dealing with that stress, and then it's hereditary as well. My mom suffers from from depression, and it's affected me in ways where I've suffered through depression. So my goal now before I retire is to bring not only awareness but have not only a resource at Alaska for our players and dealing with stress. Well, I'm already introducing Coach Alex and Boss Dickey into a sports psychologist that I've been working with. And then hopefully one day, you know, in the near future, the PBA can offer this for all players. So, because I mean, you think about it, like, if you don't know how to deal with stress and, let's say, a traumatic incident, and you bottle up, you repress it, it's going to come out some other time.
Yeah, and not in a good way.
And not in a good way. And if you don't have a positive outlet, what are your outlets? Maybe drugs, maybe alcohol,
Yeah.
you know, maybe gambling, maybe domestic violence, whatever it is, it's going to come out in some negative way, and it's going to have some real repercussions on your life.
And it's hard for people to really seek help because there's such a stigma attached to
Yeah,
it.
it's
Like,
a
you know, when
taboo,
you
eh.
say that you have mental problems, you always have to be this person walking in the streets dirty and all naked and everything.
Exactly.
And that's a kind of misconception that we have. But anyone can have mental health problems and it won't, you know, and still look normal.
I mean, definitely. I mean, you in your everyday life, like, you're probably dealing with someone, whether it's the barista,
Yeah.
the worker behind the counter, the person that you're, you know, opening the door for you, whoever it is, you're probably dealing with them, and maybe at that moment they're going through something mentally, and they respond to you in a negative way, and you don't know how to deal with it. Maybe they don't know how to deal with it, and that's how altercations happen. So, I mean, people have anger issues, and I think, I mean, I would encourage anyone who feels that they have some kind of mental health problem to seek help, and there's, you know, nothing to be ashamed of. You can go to a doctor and ask, you know. And I know in the United States, if you walk into any emergency room and say you need help, mental health, by law they have to do it. And I don't know the laws here in the Philippines, but I would encourage anyone who feels that they need to at least talk to somebody to seek out a resource or some kind of positive outlet, whether it's church, friends, family, parents, brothers, sisters, cousins, and at least just talk, because this, you know, it's the greatest medicine. But I really want to bring to light that mental health issues are a problem, like, not only here but everywhere. And I think it's about time we stop being afraid of discussing it in a way where it's positive. And, you know, like you said, like, if I were to come to you and say, you know, I have a mental health issue, and they're like, oh, well,
Yeah,
this
it's
guy's
because
crazy,
this guy's crazy. It's
Yeah.
all
you know, I'm
the-
gonna move away, as opposed to, well, really, what is it? Let me educate myself. Let me educate myself on how to not only help somebody but encourage them. Or, you know, some people, maybe they have bipolar disorder, so one minute they're really high and happy, and the next minute they're flipping chairs over. So how do you deal with that? How do you help them? So I think it's about time that we really start to, like, talk about it and get the resources for everyone.
Why what was so special? Why of all advocacies?
This
Mental
is something like close to me on so many different levels. Like, my son battles with anxiety. Yeah, and you know, I'm not ashamed of it. I don't want to, like, continue to, like, say, okay, this is what highlights his life. But, you know, at some point my son, like, admitted to me that he wanted to take his life.
How old is your son?
My son is 13.
13.
So for a 13-year-old to say that, and then as a father, how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
You know,
That's alarming.
and
Well, how do you deal with it?
you got to get help. I mean, I'm not a professional, so, you know, I sought help for him, and he's doing better now. So, but to think that here's a 13-year-old, imagine another person who is dealing with anywhere from gender issues to abuse to trauma to whatever it is. Maybe they're sitting in a room and they're depressed, you know, and all they need to do is talk to somebody. So I think this is what really sparks me. And, you know, I've dealt with depression in my life, and it's come to a point where you have to really not be afraid to admit that you have this issue. And I don't want to call it a problem. It's an issue.
It's an issue.
And so when you can admit to yourself that you have this issue and you want to seek help, that's, you know, that's the first step. And then at the same time, help educate others into dealing with someone who's going through this.
Did you seek help?
Yes, definitely. I've seen psychiatrists, psychologists. You know, I mean, at one point, I'm not afraid to say this. At one point, I was on antidepressants. And it helped for a while, but at the same time too, like, there are other outlets, so yoga and meditation, and there's other ways you can play instruments, paint, whatever it is. But I think what's really truly helped me now is playing sports and being healthy and like trying to eat healthier. But at the end of the day, it comes down to recognizing that maybe you do have an issue. And again, I don't want to use the word problem, 'cause I don't think that's appropriate. I think everyone has issues, and you deal with your issue accordingly. So,
How did you deal with it when you have to go to practice, you have to go to work, and you're having a tough day? How's it like?
That's the hardest thing, because one therapist described it as, imagine your emotion like a beach ball.
Okay.
So here's anger, and here's anxiety, and here's jealousy, and and if you've ever tried to hold a beach ball underwater, it takes a lot of energy. So she's like, imagine if you're trying to repress a bunch of emotions, a bunch of beach balls, and how much energy that takes. So I would go to practice and I'd wear this smile, because I'm the team captain and everything has to be okay. And then I go home and I sit in a room and I just be dark, so like, not a lot of people know this, but like, it is what it is, and like, you have to deal with it, and you move on and you move forward. And I think that's part of my process of growing, is I learn more about it so I can help others, and I can obviously help myself. So I think education is the biggest tool you have for yourself. First, educate yourself on what's going on, and if you don't know, I encourage you to go out and talk to somebody.
Yeah. You're Tony Dela Cruz. You live a life that
you have a
people
life
can
that most
only
people
dream
can
of.
only dream of.
So this can happen to basically anyone, right? So what for other people, when do they have to seek help? When do you know when a person really needs to look for help?
I think that's for the person to decide. Like, I can't.
But what does he feel?
I can't go to you and say you need to get help.
Yeah.
Like, you don't tell. You don't tell, like, I'm not just trying to be rude, but you don't tell the alcoholic right away, like, hey, you're an alcoholic. Now, obviously, if you see that they're going to hurt themselves, like, you want to make sure they're safe. For me, like, I realized that this is not where I wanted to be when you are sitting alone in the dark and you do have these thoughts, and I'm wondering, always trying to get to the bottom of, why am I feeling like this? What's going on? Am I being just too overly emotional? Like, like, I'd sit in a room and I'd hear a song and I start crying, or like I watch a movie and I'm like, what's going on? This is just a commercial. But it comes to a point where, like, I just had to admit to myself, like, I really need help. Like, this is not normal. And what is normal? But I know that this wasn't healthy. So I can't go out there and say, hey, it's time for you to get help when you feel this. I think if you have a healthy resource in others, and you have a healthy, like, ally that's helping you and very positive, that's great. Continue to seek them out. But if you know for a fact that this isn't the life you want, maybe it is time to try to seek help and reach out to somebody. So again, it comes from within. I think that's the hardest part, because maybe there's someone listening at home and they're like, I think my sister really needs help. Yeah, check on her. But if she's like, no, I'm fine, I'm good, and she's healthy, who are you to say? Unless she's really gonna hurt herself or something.
Can I ask, how long have you been dealing with this?
I wouldn't say that I'm all great now, but I think I'm more aware. And I've probably been dealing with this now for the last 4 years. 4 years, I would say. And you sort of, you don't get used to it, and it's not something you want to get used to, but you just definitely, I would say, educate yourself on it, so that when I do feel a moment where, like, man, I feel really anxious, like, this is not good, like, I need to breathe for a second, like, I think I'm better at that now.
Okay.
Especially in a stressful situation, like, so much is happening, before my go-to would, I just shut off and I just be like, I don't care, but now it's more, I can recognize when a stressful situation's gonna take its toll on me, I can step back and I can take a breath and I can be better. So again, it's just, there is no guidebook. I don't think. You just have to kind of roll with it and seek help as it comes.
Was it easier to help your son, knowing that you had gone through the same thing too?
I don't know if it's necessarily easier. I mean, it's, I don't want to say it's easier for me to talk about it now, but like, when you saw when your own child tells you something like that, like
Yeah,
it's
that should be really
difficult to hear,
shattering.
you know. And I mean, I think I have a better understanding or more empathy now for people that do go through some kind of mental health issue. And so, like, I tell this people all the time when I do a talk, no matter what you're doing or where you're at, someone is always going through something. So if you think that you're going to yell at this guy because he got your order wrong, just imagine what he might be going through. Now, that doesn't take away from that maybe he messed up your order, but there's a different way to go about it, you know, and someone's always going through something. And if we were just a little kinder to people, more empathetic to people, you know, I know it sounds cheesy, but how much better would the world be?
Yeah, because you never know. You might be the tipping point for someone.
Absolutely. That's the next thing I always say is you might be that person that pushes that person over the edge, you know, and you don't want to be responsible for that. So, I mean, you hear all these crazy stories in the news about people losing their temper and it's, you know, as horrible as it is, it's like, it's the reality of it. It's like, so.
You plan to do this for PBA help, help for the PBA players. Do you plan to expand this enlightening to other sports? You know, boxing such a high pressure environment to boxers is after their careers are over, they really don't know what to do. They're lost. Do you plan to extend this help to other professional sports?
I mean, I would love to. Like, I would love to get this off the ground. I think the biggest thing for me, I mean, as a PBA player is, I mean, there's so many other issues in the PBA that I think players face. You know, and I'll just say it because I have this platform. Players don't have a players union, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not about we need higher salaries. It's what does happen to players when we retire? You know, what does happen? Well, I mean, there's no retirement fund. There's no protection. You know, like, I know that a lot of people don't want to talk about this, but you remember Eugene Tejada getting hurt. I mean, there's no insurance. You know, and it makes me angry as a player, you know, and like, and if there's someone at home going, well, that's not right, Tony, you're going to get fined or you're going to get this, and well, then fine me then, because I think it takes someone to step up and say, you need to protect the players, you know, because we're risking our lives every night on the court, at practice.
Have you talked to players about this? Maybe reviving the whole union thing?
I think, I mean, you want to talk about a players union, but you have to do it in the right way, because I know that once you start talking players union, then people start to like get defensive. Like, well, what do you want? You know, like, what are you really after? And it's not necessarily like, hey, we're going to form this union because we want higher salaries. It's, I mean, how awesome would that be if every player had some kind of protection when they retired? You know, for as many years as you played, there's a retirement, you know, fund, or maybe there's some kind of OJT for you before you retire, whatever line of business you want to get into.
Yeah, exactly.
Because think about it. I mean, we're a bunch of men going to a job, a physical job every day, and unless you educate yourself or are educated, once you retire, you're going to be, what, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38? And what job skills do you have? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll let you in on a secret right now. PBA players don't make NBA money. So it's not like we can just say, we're going to go fishing all day. Once you retire, you have to get another job.
Yeah.
And I always reach out to younger players and I'll be like,
start thinking about
you look cool now with all your cool gadgets and your, you know, your cool cars, but that's going to run out one day because you're going to get old.
And all the glamour side of this really hides the fact that, you know, there's really a 5 to 7 year window for PBA players. And unless you're really a superstar, you're a marketable player that a team can... there's really a very short window for you to... And after that, what do you do, right? That's
Coach Tim would always tell me, he's like, every player has a shelf life. So, you know, it's like a date on milk. You know, like it's going to go out. So, you know, I mean, every player should know this, that you are going to expire at some point. And when you are 34, 35, 36, or whatever age you retire at, you're still middle-aged and you're going to have to get a job somewhere. What kind of job skills do you have? So I think that's something the PBA should help players out with, is helping them with assistance of job skills so that they can be productive.
Yeah, okay. We just kind of lighten up the mood a little bit. You know, from Twitter.
Every time I see Alaska, I remember Bong Hawkins, the prototype Alaska Ace.
Kicks can be a good outlet. This is from Earl Averilia. What are your favorite kicks?
Right now, I like the KD8, Kevin Durant.
KD8.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
How about all time?
All time, Jordan 11, Concord. All
I
time.
think I'm the only
I
one
told
who
you,
doesn't
see,
like
you're the
that
only
shoe
one who
for
doesn't
some
like
the
the
greatest
shoe.
shoe ever
It's
made.
the greatest shoe ever
Maybe
made.
if I had the shoe like that, I would
It's the
like
greatest
it.
shoe ever made.
Greatest shoe ever.
Anton Contreras, Anton 1 wants to know if you were to pick up your own PBA starting five.
Current
would that
players
be?
right now?
Yeah.
Or all time?
All time.
All
Let's
time.
do current and then let's do all time.
Current. Okay, really quick. I would pick. My starting point guard would be Jason Castro. My 2 guard would be Jeff Chan. My 3 guard would be Gabe Norwood.
There's no Alaska yet.
We'll get there. My 4 would be Calvin Abueva.
Okay, there you go.
And my 5 would be Junmar.
I know.
It's a
Yeah.
pretty solid line.
Okay, so all time.
All time.
All time, my 5 would be Johnny A. It's my starting point guard. My 2 guard would be Jeff Carriazo. My 3 guard would be...
Alaska.
My 3 guard. I'll get back to the 3 guard. My 4 would be Nick Velasco.
Mm-hmm.
And my 5 would be... Alvin Patrimonio. And then my 3 would be... You say Manny Pacquiao? Bong Hawkins.
Bong Hawkins.
Put him at the 3.
And there's
All the
another
time.
question here. Who do you think is the most underrated player in the PBA now?
Most underrated player? That's a really good question. I mean, I would say... I have no idea. Like, I'm trying to think right now. I mean, I like young guys that are working hard. Like, I like Carl De Hesa. Like, I think he's really an up-and-coming player, but he has a lot of upside because he works hard, he doesn't complain, and obviously, like, the system he's in, like, it helps him, but at the same time, he needs minutes, and I'm not trying to plug him for that, but it's just like, for any player, you need minutes to show, but then when you have those minutes, what are you going to do with them? So, I like Carl De Hesa, and I like what he does and what he brings.
It's probably going to send you a gift.
Yeah, maybe.
If I ask you about overrated players, will you answer?
It's a tough one.
Thank you so much, Tony, for gracing our show. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for tonight. Really appreciate you. That was a really enlightening talk, and I'm sure our readers really got
Thank you for
a
having
lot
me.
from that.
Thank you so much for that talk. And we'll take a short break before we wrap this up.
Hi, I'm Kevin Gaho from Mr. Hotshot, and I'm inviting you to watch the Sports IQ every Thursday at 8 p.m. on INQUIRER.net and Radio Inquirer. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Mark Pingris, and I'm inviting you to watch Sports IQ every Thursday at 8 p.m. on INQUIRER.net at Radio Inquirer.
I'm inviting you to watch Sports Active every Thursday, 8 p.m. at INQUIRER.net and Radio Inquirer.
My name is Ari Santos of San Miguel Gilmen. I'm inviting you to watch the Sport IQ on Thursday at 8 p.m. on INQUIRER.net, Radio Inquirer.
And we're back here at Sports IQ. So we're wrapping the show up, but before
Before you do that,
else,
we're gonna ask Mr. Tony De La Cruz to ask the question. If you the first answer, right? The
first answer on our Inquirer Live Facebook Live broadcast right now will get 2 tickets to next Wednesday's game in the PBA. Mr. Tony De La Cruz will ask the question, and you all keyboard warriors, why don't you start typing now?
Okay, Tony.
The question is, what year was my first playing year in the PBA?
Okay. Do you know?
I'm not gonna tell it, of course.
Okay, of course. I'm not gonna.
But I did cover the first year.
I think
So
I'm
that's
about
enough.
7 years old then. No.
No,
Yeah.
no. There's no age. No talking
Yeah,
about
okay,
ages here.
okay.
Okay.
But as usual, before this, we wrap the show up. We go to our last segment, the final buzzer, where we give our final word for tonight. And timer ready?
Okay, starts now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have
timer
to
starts now.
I'm just gonna make this quick. We'd like really to thank Tony De La Cruz. I think it's an issue that really needs to come to light. We really need to start talking about it. We really need to bring it out in the open because there's such a stigma attached to it. You know, people. If people need help, they can't get help because they're just scared of what people would think of them, what society will think of them. But at a certain point, we really, really have to talk about it in the open. We have to be candid about it. It's something real. It's something that exists. It's a problem that's really true, especially in sports, because it's such a high pressure environment. You know, people don't know. It's so easy to just, I mean, as a sports writer, that's also I do fault that sometimes. I just, carelessly write and blame players for what happens. But when you realize they're in such a tough situation every day, every moment of their lives, they have to make quick decisions and everything. And then there's all the pressure. And then they cannot even ask for help because, when we scout players, we always say, mental strength is part of the things aside from athletic skills. So how does a player open up to a coach or to his agent or to anything? So that's all. That for me, we really, really need to start talking about mental health.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for all your very insightful. It's been very insightful evening. And that's it for our show tonight. Again, it's been Celeste Flores Canilla and my partner, Francis Ochoa. Good night, Philippines, wherever you are. Bye, guys.
Ito ang Trans Radio Broadcasting